What if I told you that one decision in 1066 changed the fate of an entire civilization? That a single battle, fought on a sun-drenched hilltop, set the course for centuries of power, culture, and identity, shaping the very foundation of modern England? It's a story of bloodshed, betrayal, and an unrelenting quest for the throne. But more than that, it's the story of how a nation was born anew under a foreign king. You might wonder, how does this old battle still matter today? But the truth is, the Battle of Hastings isn't just a thing of the past. Its effects still resonate in our society, from how we govern to how we think about power, and even in our language. This key moment in history, though it feels ancient, still influences much of who we are as a nation today. In 1066, England was a kingdom in turmoil. The death of King Edward the Confessor left the throne open to contention. Edward's passing was no peaceful transition. It ignited a bitter contest among the powerful elite of the time. Three men claimed the right to rule England. The first, Harold Godwinson, a Saxon noble and the man who had been crowned king after Edward's death. The second, Harold Hardrada, the king of Norway, a fearsome warrior with grand ambitions of his own. But the third contender was William of Normandy, Duke of Normandy, who claimed that Edward had promised him the throne years earlier. As you can imagine, these were not just political disagreements. They were personal vendettas, ancient promises, and imperial ambitions clashing at a moment in history when loyalty was as fragile as a sword's edge. With each claimant determined to take the crown, it was clear that blood would be spilled. But no one, not even William, could have predicted that the outcome of one battle would reshape the entire course of history. October 14th, 1066. The Battle of Hastings, a name that rings through history, but how much do we really understand about the chaos of that day? The battlefield was an open field, surrounded by dense forests, with Harold's Saxon army on one side and William's Norman forces on the other. The stakes were high. On one side, Harold, fresh from defeating Harold Hardrada in the north, was determined to defend his crown. On the other, William, who had meticulously prepared for this moment for years, was eager to claim what he believed was his destiny. The Normans, with their cavalry, and the Saxons, with their well-practiced shield wall, were locked in a brutal struggle for survival. For hours, the battle raged. At one point, it seemed as though the Saxons would win. Harold's forces had held strong, and the Normans were pushed back. But then, a deadly twist. The Norman forces feigned retreat, drawing the Saxons out of formation. It was a trap. The moment Harold's men broke rank to chase what they thought were fleeing soldiers, the full force of William's cavalry struck. In the final moments of the battle, King Harold was struck in the eye by an arrow, an iconic image that remains imprinted in history. With his death, the hopes of the Saxon resistance crumbled. England, a land of proud Anglo-Saxon heritage, was now on the brink of a new age under a foreign ruler. William's victory at Hastings was not just a military conquest. It was a complete transformation of English society. Upon his victory, William became King of England, but that was only the beginning of his grand design. First, he secured the loyalty of the English nobles through force, but also through strategic land grants and political alliances. The Saxon nobility, which had ruled for centuries, was replaced by Normans, French-speaking, culturally distinct elites. This introduced a new feudal system that altered the very fabric of England's governance. But William's conquest wasn't just about shifting political power. It was about reshaping the culture of England. The Normans brought with them their language, their customs, and their influence, which over time merged with the Anglo-Saxon traditions. The result? The English language itself began to evolve, adopting thousands of Norman French words, transforming English into the rich and complex language we know today. Moreover, the very structure of English society was transformed. The famous Domesday Book, commissioned by William in 1085, provided a detailed survey of land ownership and resources in England. It became the cornerstone of a new system of taxation and land distribution, marking the start of a centralized and organized state. So, the next time you think about medieval England, remember this: the culture, governance, and even the language you associate with it was all shaped by the Battle of Hastings. The impact of that single day is profound, more far-reaching than anyone could have imagined at the time. What if Harold had won at Hastings? Would England have been ruled by the Anglo-Saxons for centuries to come? Would the English language have remained mostly Old English, free of the heavy influence of French? And what would have become of the development of the English monarchy? Would it have been as powerful or more fragmented and vulnerable? The truth is, the Battle of Hastings created the England we know today. William's victory marked the end of the Anglo-Saxon age and the beginning of a new era. It paved the way for a centralized, monarchical system that would grow to become one of the most influential empires in history. From the Magna Carta to the English Civil War, from the rise of Parliament to the age of colonialism, the legacy of William's conquest is written in every corner of modern history. What do you think would have happened if the Battle of Hastings had turned out differently? How would the world have changed if Harold had won, or if the Normans had never crossed the Channel? Let me know in the comments below. The Battle of Hastings was more than just a fight for a throne. It was a fight for the future of a nation. A moment when the course of history was decided by the blood of kings and the ambitions of men. If you want to learn more about how battles like this one shaped the world, don't forget to subscribe and check out our Empires in Power playlist. The stories of kings, warriors, and the nations they built are far from over. Thank you for watching, and until next time, remember, history is never just the past. It's a key to understanding the present and shaping the future.